the Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast brought to you by ProphetX for this week's Zurich Classic, everybody's favorite tournament, right after two bangers of a weeks. As always, I'm brought to you by the man, the myth, the absolute DFS and betting legend, Kenny Goddamn Ken. Kenny, Kim, what's up?
Fantasy Golf Degenerates brought to you by ProphetX. Make sure you go to ProphetX. Use promo code FG Degenerates. Save yourself, get yourself a small little bonus. It's not much. We'll talk more about this as the show goes on. Yeah, it was a fun week. Back-to-back events. Now we got this one. Usually most people take this week off, but we are not. We are going full bore into this for the Zurich Classic. Should be fun. Last week was fun. What'd you think of the tournament, Byron?
Kenny, I got pretty much reverse swept, so it wasn't the greatest betting week. But, if one of us dies, the other can thrive. I'm cool with that. I noticed...
I'm curious, Byron, because I know that when you do your betting cards and stuff like that, you sort of go against the grain, right? You're sort of a contrarian guy when it comes to betting.
Sure.
I've always wanted to ask about that. Like, what makes you go in that direction when you go about your betting process?
When it comes to like the placement side of things, I wouldn't say I'm like super contrarian. That's where
I think that's pretty normal. But like outrights,
I've been thinking, and I need to change something because the last outright I hit was the John Deere Classic. So, like, how hard it is for me to go on a show. But look, it's been a couple, playoff losses, 3 of them this year. I could have 3 outrights if it just goes the other way. Didn't. Mm-hmm. But that's my thing, man. It's like I am super contrarian by nature. Yeah. That's why I'm a content creator, because I always think differently.
I feel like that would be like a great way to go about DFS, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't. I don't really understand it when you do it on on an outright card, and I don't understand a lot of things. So I was just curious. I was thinking about this throughout the week.
I don't know. I think when I see a couple people like getting popular, I like just like something deep inside of me, the monster inside of me is like, all right, go be you and fuck yourself over by completely not going with the guys that all make total sense. I just hate being like a square, as well. So I guess that's kind of part of it. But you know what? Maybe for the rest of the year, I'm gonna just turn into a chalk donkey when it comes to outrights and just like bet the guys that are like super obvious. But at the same time, like whenever I do that, shit just goes south. It just happens. Like Corey Connors has been playing amazing. But I think what I realized, and I'm going to do some deep diving on this, is what the hell happens after majors? Scottie Scheffler was the only dude who finished top 20 at the Masters to finish top 10. And he finished 8th, the world number 1. Granted, he was trying to hunt down the win. So had he just played for a top 5, he probably would have got it. But he was trying to cash in on that win there. But I think the week after, like JT completely sucked it up at the Masters and shows up here, versus, do you see the leaderboard? It's disgusting. Like the guys he beat were like normal Valera Open dudes,
Yeah.
It's weird. And it's betting outrights is so, Kenny, it's never been anything I've been good at. Unless Cam Smith comes back to the PGA, I'm probably not going to be a profitable outright bettor. It's just who I am. That's why I'm the placement guy. That's how I started betting, was with placements, and then I started getting into content, and then you're like forced to bet these fucking outrights that drive me fucking nuts all the fucking time, and here I am, dropping 3 F-bombs in a row to start the show when you've hit a fucking winner, you went DFS crazy, you're having yourself a banger, man. So let's chat about you too.
It was a good week. We'll talk about that, but here's my take. Like I know that I bet like popular guys, but the thing is I'm not reading other people's shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm basing it based upon like what I see on my models, on my Fantasy National, what I see, what I've watched, actually visually watching golf recently. And so it ends up becoming a popular play, but I don't see it as that when I'm making my bets, because usually I make 70% of my bets Monday morning. right?
Oh yeah. No, I'm
Monday
right there
morning
with you. Like
on
my
the
Discord
shitter.
timestamps are,
Mhm.
they my bets. Like they are
Yeah,
literally mine. But I think
yeah,
I've got this predisposed memory of who popular plays are all the time. And I also like develop these weird biases against like people like Ludwig. Like when a handsome young stud comes onto the scene and everyone's like gushing over him, like I have this like unnecessary need to go against the grain with him. I don't
yeah.
understand
That
why that's
that
the
makes zero
case,
sense to me. That makes zero
but
sense to me.
it's just how it is.
Yeah,
It's a
I
massive flaw in my process, but it is what it is, you know.
But the thing is, your placements are money. Your placements are money. Your models are great. It helps, hundreds of thousands of people out there. So, I mean, it's always a good thing. But I was just curious because, I mean, I was thinking about what you said a couple of weeks ago, be contrarian when it comes to outright betting. And I just didn't really understand it and like what it meant. But, here's the thing. Like, when it comes to outright betting, it's difficult. Like you said, it's hard as shit, right? It is a very, very difficult thing to do. Now, personally, for me, it was a good week. I had the JT outright. I did not have it on the show, but I did say that JT was my favorite DFS play in that 10K range. I almost had him as the hustler play of the week last week because I said he was going to be the lowest owned 10K guy, and he was. He was 14% owned. Around there, 14 to 18% owned, while almost everybody except Ludwig was over 20%. I did add him to my final card, which you can find on X every week at Kendo VT, usually Wednesday, midday, Wednesday night. I'll release the final card. JT was on there. So it was nice getting that victory, that second outright of the year. I also had the burger each way, full payout. I also had the JT each way, full payout. So that's each way's 11 and 12 for me this season. I came in fifth in the $100 single entry on DraftKings, won $2,000. It's nice because now that I'm playing these, higher dollar single entry, the prize pool is a lot more flat, right? First place was 7,500. Second was 5K. Third was 4K. Third was 4K. Fourth was 3K, and then fifth, which I got, was $2,000. I mean, that's not bad when the first prize is $7,500. That lineup was also in the $5 drive the green because I still want to play my lottery ticket. So the way I do my DFS nowadays is I make three lineups: $100 single entry, $44 the GPP, and the $12 which is the one where I put my cash lineup in. So the $100 and the $44 are GPP lineups. The $12 is my cash lineup. And then I put all three in the $5 just in case, right?
Yeah,
just in case. And then, I put like 120, 130 bucks on one single cash lineup. So the $100 single entry was nice. It came in fifth. It was actually one of the first times I've been in the top 10 going into the final round. I don't know, dozens of times. Probably in my career, I've only taken down 3 classic slates, and these are all pre-2018 when I won those 3. Now, what tends to happen for me is that I got that 5th place. It was nice, but I still want to get that lottery ticket, and I'm trying to change everything else, and that lineup I had in the $100 single entry to finish 5th, finished 63rd in the $5 for $50. It would have finished 9th in the $44 for $1,000. So concept selection, which has been something that I really have not given a fuck about for the longest time, up until about 2 months ago when I decided to change everything I do for DFS. And it's worked out so far. We'll see. It was a nice $5,000 week total. I won 24 because I actually won every single lineup I entered. All 3 cashed in GPPs. And then my cash lineup, which was not even close. This is the great thing about no cut events. It wasn't really even close. But then on Sunday, my guys went fucking crazy. Like
nuts.
Bud Cauley went 7 under. Harmon was in the lineup.
Yeah.
Even with Xander just barely got the top 20. He was a cash game cornerstone. Connors really shit the bed. Berger came in third, which was nice. And then Eric Cole, which was my final cash game cornerstone and my hustle play of the week, finished top 20. And then I also had Harmon, who finished third, and Cauley, who had the 7 under 64 on Sunday. So it actually made it an easy cash, which is the great thing about the no cut event. So really, really solid week. Took the one I got the boost on the JT 30% on Bet365. So I won like 2150 on that with the outright and the burger each way, and then I won 2450 on DraftKings, which was solid. And then I actually, this is something we're going to talk about here in the ProphetX segment, but you guys really need to get on ProphetX.
Yeah.
There's really no point in betting finishings. No placements. If you're doing placements, you have to do it on ProphetX. I'll go over why, but like you're not going to get better numbers anywhere else. And I'm not talking about like 2-3 points. I'm talking about like 30, 40, 60 points better.
Like plus 150 being plus 200 type thing at ProphetX when it's plus 150 everyone else.
70 points better. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. Okay, people always talk about like, let's get the best number. Oh, I got 132, minus 132 instead of you're minus 136. Okay, big fucking whoop. Right?
It helps when you're betting thousands of dollars, but over time, even when you're betting $100 here and there, the big savings you get at ProphetX are like, that's Gucci.
But the savings you get at ProphetX are like huge. And we'll go over that. But I did hit the Xander top 20, which is really nice because it was a sweat the whole way, including ties, which is good. And I also hit Xander over Rye, which was a matchup that they had on ProphetX. So that's something we're going to be focusing on here as the year goes on, because honestly, like, there's no site better. Like if you're doing finishing bets, placement bets, and you're doing it on any other site other than ProphetX, you are making a huge, huge mistake. Like I said, I'm not talking about like 4 cents difference. We're talking about like 40 cents difference, 70 cents difference in odds. So make sure you go to ProphetX, use promo code FG Degenerates, get yourself a little small bonus. Again, ProphetX isn't a sports book. It's peer on peer versus peer, competition. It is what it is.
That's where the savings come.
Yeah. And for that reason, you're not getting like, huge bonuses, right? You're not getting, here's $1,000 bonus or 10% bonus or something like that. You're not getting that because they're only taking 2% of the winner of money. That's it. That's all they're taking. So 48% of people that play on ProphetX win. So you have to go, especially if you're doing placement bets. And, matchups, they're getting more and more matchups each week. But they have the full complement of placements.
Ties paid in full as well.
Yeah.
Which is
ties
critical.
paid in full.
Like,
you really, if you have not gotten to that site, I don't even give a fuck if you use our promo code or not. You need to go on that site because it is seriously like it's a game changer when it comes to placements. Like I will be betting placement bets every week now, Byron. Every week. I'm gonna be
Kenny. There we go.
Doing it.
I was waiting for you to say that.
And it's funny because like the ones I'll be targeting are like the obvious ones, like Scheffler top 10s, Xander top 20s. Like the ones that are more likely to hit than not are the ones that I'm targeting because you get so much of a value compared to other sites. But let's talk about the event itself.
But Kenny, before you do that, I've been trying to get in contest selection, quick little hint and tip. So I've noticed with the 44, because I try and get in that quite often, and sometimes the payout structure changes for the same dollar entry contest that you always go in every week. So pay attention to that because what you're trying to aim for is when you have a good week, like Kenny did and finish 5th, you still get a good payout. Like, it's so hard to win a GPP. Finishing 5th needs to still be rewarding to you. And you're looking to kind of get 10% for 10th place of the first place payout. So if first place pays out $1,000, you want $100 getting paid to 9th and 10th place in that contest, because that's just that's the backbone of a flat payout structure in DFS. Mm-hmm. So if you go and check the lotto ticket contest, the big 57,000 people ones, it's not even close. Yeah. It's like 3%, you know, like, so you're going to finish 10th and make what you would have if you finished 20th or so in like a big, you know, $100 like you doing. So you have to just kind of.
It was actually better in the $100 single entry top 10. Everyone in the top 10 minimum was $1,000. So 10th place still won $1,000. You know, so, you know, that's not, that doesn't seem horrible.
That's even better. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, again,
I prefer that over the 10% thing, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Yes. But the thing is, like, shifting from mass multi-entering to doing this, you're going to have like stints of bad weeks. That's why I still play the cash, right? You know, you try and make your money back with the cash lineup. I make one cash lineup and it's like, you know, 45% of my total bankroll that I'm using for DFS. And so in that case, you know, I make the majority of my money back if my cash lineup hits, even if my GPPs don't do anything. And so that's how I'm going about it. So it's been working pretty well. I've had, I guess this is like the second time I've won more than like, you know, more than doubled my money in the $100 single entry. I think I won like $400 once before. And I've only been doing, I think this is like the 8th time I've done it. So it's been pretty good. And we'll see how it goes. And, you know, if I start winning something big and getting more consistent, maybe I go to the $200 single entry or something like that, and maybe bump it up that way. But I think I'm going to keep going with the 3 lineups a week. It really makes you focus.
Don't fix it, buddy.
Yeah, it really makes you focus on the plays. Like I think I've said this before, but when it comes to mass multi-entering, you know, you got a lot of like borderline guys that are probably in your player pool, just because you need the amount and you don't want, you know, a bunch of guys 70% and 60% that are like, you know, 7K or something like that. You know, you don't want that many people. You don't want them, you know, having so much control of your bankroll when it comes to GPPs. So I like this switch up. I think it's going to keep on going. But the thing, I think if you decide to make this switch from mass multi-entering to doing like, you know, picking and choosing contests and doing like, you know, 3 or 4 lineups, like under 5 lineups a week, you just got to be ready for losing weeks, like many in a row, when it comes to GPPs. And that's why I sort of facilitate that with the cash lineups. But, you know, we was talking a little strategy about DFS and gambling and stuff to start, switching it up a little bit, but let's actually get to the tournament itself. I know you made a really good point about golfers going out there and not really performing well the week after a major. I mean, this might be something to think about, especially after the Masters, is what it feels like to me. But I think that's the only one that's after a major. I think everything else is before. I think the Memorial is before the PGA.
They don't do that anymore because Scottie was pissy about having to play a tough tournament before the major.
Well, they're playing the Truist before the PGA
at some Philadelphia Cricket Club. Like it's
supposed to be a hard course, like a difficult ass course, is what I heard. But I haven't looked into it. So I could be wrong. But yeah. So I mean, but the thing is, like, if they do the Truist next year, it's going to be at the Wells Fargo. I mean, that's the course. I don't know if maybe they won't make it the
reschedule a little bit. Yeah, they'll figure it out.
But you know, overall, the tournament, I thought you had Justin go out there and shoot the course record on the first day. And what I've spoken about Justin Thomas leading up to this event is, you know, play him at a course where it's hard to get a large number. Birdie Fest with a good amount of birdies, and it's hard to make a humongous mistake, and that's exactly what he did. He had 23 birdies, 5 bogeys, no doubles, no triples. And as firm as the course was playing, especially on Sunday, I mean, that was no cupcake of a course. But the thing is, it's still difficult unless you're Scottie Scheffler and trying to do some crazy shit to get doubles, to get triples on there. I thought Novak played outstanding. I thought when on the back 9, when everyone else was sort of, because I mean, on that front with like, you know, leading up to when it was on hole 6, 7, 8, 9, the leaderboard got pretty bunched. There was a lot of guys in contention, and the back 9 of Heritage, of course, is a much more difficult task than the front. And so you saw a lot of guys dropping down, except for Novak. Now, the only problem with Novak is, I think I read a stat. I think this might have been his 8th or 10th time inside the top 10 going into Sunday. He's never rose in position, ever. Not once.
Correct.
He's never rose in position from where he started Sunday morning to where he finished Sunday night. And I thought he did extremely well. And we shot 4 under. He shot a 67, so he definitely didn't choke. Now, the putt on 18, that was a little shaky. Definitely.
Rough, but he just nailed the 17th, like a complete dagger there, So
that was a really, really nice putt by him. I thought JT made a little bit of a mistake laying up on 9. I thought that cost him a little bit. But, he came back. He did what he had to do, parred out basically after 15. I don't remember if he birdied 15 or not. But
yes, he did. He made a big bomb. Like he made some big putts down the stretch, dude. Yeah. Like he out-putted his approach play this week.
Yeah. He said that he was taking lessons from Xander recently. And Xander told him that he was overthinking a little bit, and it seemed because that putt on the first playoff hole was about as pure as you're
it was never going to see. No.
Yeah. I mean, especially on Bermuda. I mean, like that was incredibly pure, really, really strong. Kudos to him, first win in 3 years. But I know a lot of people thought it was coming, including myself. So that was a nice victory for him. I think it was a good next week after the Masters. What was your takes on what you saw?
So Novak, I've got this cool tool that I should have brought up on you. I might send it to Mike afterwards. Who knows? Maybe if he gives me he's giving me the nod. Yeah. I'll send some cool graphics because Novak as well, Kenny, I can see, entering round 4 within 3 shots of the lead. How is this person done? Strokes gained wise. And Novak had hardly ever gained strokes in that situation. But now he's been in that situation so many freaking times this year. He's finally starting to feel a little comfortable. Yes, he had the Tarzan cartel showing up at fucking RBC Heritage when he knocked 2 into the trees and they both shot back into the fairway. And then JT also hit that snap hook on 16, and it could have gone OB, landed in the sand. To win a golf tournament, you need a lot of shit to go right for yourselves, And I think there was a hole, on 4, he airmailed the green and it stopped short on the bulkhead. Can change your whole flow, of the day. And Justin Thomas, Kenny, when I'm checking how JT plays with the lead, it's now been 6 or 7 or 8 times. I think it's 8 times that he's had the lead and never gained more than a stroke on the field. Then he goes into the final round, 2 shots back, and voila. I've called him the Carrot King for like a while now because he needs something to chase. He can't go out front and set the pace. He has to chase a carrot. And the moment he was going into that final round behind, he was going to win it because, that's just sleeping on a lead is so tormenting to your brain.
How much do you rely on information like that, Byron? Like, the thing is, like, if you relied on information like that, like, nobody would win, right? I mean, like, the way that golfers are playing.
That's why Scottie wins all the time.
Yeah, I mean, but he's like the only one. Like, is there anybody out there who goes on Sundays with the lead and plays well? I mean, the list has got to be tiny.
Brian Harmon is one, like, it's a very small sample size, obviously, because you don't always have the lead, but it tells you who these guys are in those situations, and maybe if they are just completely ball striking the shit out of it and haven't done well in the past, and they got into those situations like Siwoo, who you can see the putter was going to let him down the final day because he was leading the field putting through the first 3 rounds, goes into the final round. That's when nerves get a little tentative. Putter just did not show up, So you can kind of predict how they're playing when they go into that round, but it gives you some context and it helps, Like I do think it matters because there's definitely tendencies. These golfers have absolute tendencies, Scottie Scheffler now in the last 2, like since 2024, Kenny, he's got 8 spike rounds where he's gained 4+ strokes on round 1, round 2, and round 4. He's got 8 of those. For each one of those rounds, he's gained 4+. This round Saturday problem for Scottie, he's only gained twice 4+ strokes on the field. It's like 6 less than all the other rounds. On Saturday, he's just stuck in neutral for some reason. So I never play him in showdown. There's tendencies that these guys show how it goes. And you can see Justin Thomas, when he's behind, he chases. When he's in front, he doesn't. So there's pedigrees to these people.
Here's the thing that I would go think about when it comes to that type of information is if the guy's like a proven winner and he's won a bunch, even if it's been a couple of years, like I think you could throw that out the window. I think when it comes to golfers who are unfamiliar with winning, who don't have many wins, then I think then I think it is more important. But I think Morikawa is going to win one soon. I'm not worried about what he's done on Sundays. I mean,
but he'll do it from behind, Kenny. That's what Colin does. All of his wins are from behind. When he's in the lead, think about the Euro, think about the Century, think about the API. Yeah. Like in the lead,
but like you're not complete disaster. I'm talking about outrights and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Like win losses, Colin closed out a tournament from the front. Like
yeah, but how are you going to know he's going to be in the front when you're betting it on Wednesday or Tuesday or Monday?
Fine, okay, but I'm just saying, like maybe that makes a difference too. You got to like someone like Scottie. I know it's a terrible example, but when he finds himself in those situations, doesn't really matter which situation he's in because he's going to take care of business, right? Where Colin, the cards have to fall the perfect way for him to win. You know,
but the thing about Scottie is
he plays too well. That's a problem.
The thing is, like, you're basing everything on recent, like last 2 or 3 years of form, right? Is what you're basing Morikawa on. If you did that. And then prior to that, I mean, he'd won a bunch of events. I mean, I don't think every single one was from behind. And you look at Scottie, yes, he's been doing what he's been doing for the last 2 years, but prior to that, he couldn't win a tournament.
It changes at some points. Totally agree with you.
So,
you know, and
try to find that nook of like where the golfer is. It's got to be hard. I don't know. Sometimes I think overthinking can really limit you on how you want to go about the outright process. And I don't know. It's just something that I've been thinking about because I know you've been struggling and I want to see you get out of this struggle. Right. And so I've just been thinking of like ways and why things might be happening on your end, because you're an amazing bettor. Like your placements are great. Just having these troubles when it comes to outrights, it just seems like maybe something is wrong when it comes to your strategy.
Kenny, Eldrick was going to win that playoff. It bounced back in from the fucking trees, dude. I had Nico Echeverria putting for eagle on the second playoff hole, and Nick Taylor was 60 yards away chipping for his third. Lost that hole somehow. It's just Justin Rose. You know, I bet him live going into round 4. Loses his second fucking playoff at the Masters to Rory, who wins the slam. You know, after...
It's just hard, right?
It's hard, dude. You know, it's just like shit goes wrong, and it's very frustrating. You know, and then you see people rattle off like 3 or 4 in a row, and it's like, how does this even feel? I don't even know what it feels like to have that anymore. So when you guys cash your outrights, like enjoy it because it's so freaking hard to do, man. So it's all good, you know. Like
it's tough, but I think it's coming. It's got to be coming here soon. I mean, you know, and for me, it's been a decent, you know, last year and a half. I think the last 60 events, I've had 9 outright winners, which is 15%, which is, I think, okay. I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's like outstanding, but I don't think it's horrible. 9 winners in the last 60 events. I've had 57 each way hits in those 60 events, which I don't even know if that's good or not. I still don't know about each ways, if that's a good number or not. I think it's good. I think,
what you can do is I'll build you a little easy Google Doc, and you can just put your stuff in there, and then you can see, okay, this is how much I've made on each ways, or maybe even less.
I know that I have all that info. This year I've been betting a little bit more than I did last year, and so I'm still down like $400, even with the 12 each ways. But that's 1 week of betting for me. I'm usually betting around 350 to 400 every week when it comes down to it. So we'll see how it goes. We got everything coming up. I did want to talk about Scott a little bit.
And before you do that, Kenny, sorry, I'll keep doing this, but I try not to interrupt you. Colin has had 7 wins on the PGA Tour. 6 of them have come from behind. The World Golf
Championship. Final day?
Yeah, going into round 4, he's been behind 1, 2, 4, 6 The only one he's won was the World Golf Championship, I think, the workday out there. He had a 2-shot lead going into the final round. So
yeah, I think that's great information to know, maybe for live betting and stuff like that.
And Showdown in particular.
And Showdown, yeah, I don't play Showdown,
Yeah.
so that wouldn't be something that I would know. But yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense for live betting and stuff. Maybe if he's down a couple going into the last, that might be the time to jump on him. But the problem is, if he's only down 2 or 3 going into the last, you're going to get what, plus 600, plus 750. You're not going to get the best numbers.
No, but you've also got so much more information. You know, I bet Scottie 9-1, 4 back. You would start if he pulls that shot off on the 50. We can transition to Scottie. Yeah, if he pulls that shot off on the par 5, somehow makes an eagle. Then Scottie Scheffler's name's on the leaderboard, and everyone that's trying to close out the tournament realizes I've got Scottie chasing me now. Like, he's got this presence, I think, that he's starting to develop, because he's like this Angela from The Office. Like, he's like, when Dwight looks over his shoulder, like, you know, like Scottie's just like there all of a sudden, like whenever the Sunday afternoon rolls around. So what did you want to say about Scottie, Kenny?
One thing I've noticed about Scottie is he's changed his swing. I don't know when it happened. I don't know when this occurred, but I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, he's hitting the draw, or he's hitting a slice. He's hitting a cut off the tee, almost predominantly a cut off the tee, like almost 100%. And what I used to notice about Scottie is, you know, off the tee on his drive, it's usually always right to left.
Really?
And it seemed, yeah, I mean, his misses are always left. You know,
now,
now his misses are always right. Every miss he had was to the right the past 2 weeks. And I don't know, maybe it's just, maybe I'm wrong about this, but to me, it seemed like most of his shots off the tee were right to left. I know his iron shots normally go left to right, but off the tee, you know, it seemed like for the most part, he hits it right to left. And these last couple of weeks, he's been hitting that soft fade off the tee. Maybe I'm wrong about this because I haven't heard anybody else talking about it.
I feel like he's hit a cut pretty much his whole career, Kenny.
Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong about this, but to me, it seems like when I've been watching him, he hits it right to left a lot off the tee. Maybe it's not every time, but I feel like that he's done that shot more, and his misses have been predominantly to the left when he does miss a fairway. And it seems like now every shot has been that floaty slice. And again, I could be off on this, but it seems like it's more that floaty slice, and he sort of put that right to left driver shot in the bag. And a lot of people have done that. You know, I mean, we've seen Dustin Johnson go from, you know, playing the draw to the cut and then winning the majors. He's won. We've seen it before with other golfers. So this is not something that you've noticed.
What I have noticed is he's had these left misses. If you think about the final round at Augusta, Scottie Scheffler, without a ravioli hand issue, never hits his golf ball left on number 2 at Augusta on a Sunday. He just doesn't do that. Like, he hit it so deep. He's had the lefts, you know, like, and I think that what can create that big power fade that he's kind of showing is he's scared of the left. So he's committing to the fade, you know. We are underselling how significant this injury has been for him. And I think we finally saw that his ball striking showed up again this week. So that's good to see. But this is the first time, Kenny, I think that he's gained over 2 strokes per round ball striking since the Olympics. You know, like, I think he was in a groove and he got completely out of it, man, with this hand injury. So once he comes back, maybe he'll start finessing a couple more fades, you know, like working the ball like we've always seen him do it. You know, I think we're underselling how bad his hand has injured him.
When do you start worrying? Because he hasn't won. This is the longest stretch he's gone in over 2 years without a victory. When was the last win he had? I can't remember. It's got to be
the Olympics or the Euro.
Olympics. Yeah.
And I'm no longer I'm actually bullish on Scottie because I'm just taking a look now. He finally eclipsed the 2+ ball striking mark, hitting his ball in the water on a very reckless shot where he was trying to push the gas to win the tournament, right? Like, out of a rough, you wouldn't normally hit that shot, but in that situation, he lost probably a stroke and a half there. So his ball striking has definitely returned this week. It's the best ball striking week he's had of his career. All of his top 5 so far have been when the short game has been helping out the ball striking. And he's gained more short game strokes than ball striking strokes, which is not the Scottie Scheffler blueprint. Now we're starting to see it's returned. So if he's got that short game still in his pocket and the ball striking shows up and the putter and the chipping is really fired, we could see him go on a run. Like, I think he's starting to find his groove again. And
I think
one bad shot pretty much cost him this week.
I think at some point you have to worry. I mean, he hasn't won in a while. He, like you said, he hasn't been striking the ball that well. Like Patty Harrington said, I bring this up all the time. Elite golfers usually have a 2 to 3 year window where they win the majority of all their events. We're at the end of that window for Scottie right now.
Kenny, what do you think of the ravioli? Like, if you had hand surgery to remove glass from your hand, when you have to hold a golf club with your hand, and entering the year, you've now taken off, like you probably took off a couple weeks in December, thinking you'd ramp it up going into the year, and then he has this injury and it completely offsets his stuff. Like,
I don't think it'll take 5 months to recover.
It's taken 4.5. I think he's back now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll take 5 months to recover. I think maybe it's something to keep an eye on. I'm not going to be betting any Scottie numbers of plus 450, plus 500. I won't be doing that anytime soon.
I'll be back on the top 5 train with him for sure, because I think we're starting to see what he's got up to in the last little.
That might be the right thing. I think the next time I see him, I'll probably do a top 10 on him, something like that over on ProphetX. And when it comes to short game, I think that's what saved Justin Thomas this past week too. When you think about it, he had that one good round and basically just held on the next 2 days. And a lot of that had to do with short game because he was missing a lot of greens.
My God.
And
again.
And he came through with that elite short game, and it helped him. And then, brought his confidence back up for Sunday, where he actually played pretty damn well, shooting 3 under, gaining some strokes on the field. Anything else about last week? We had a Higgo Win. Now over in Putakana.
Straight from the skate park. Like Garrick Higgo with the flow. Sponsorless hat.
Yeah. Just he looks like a skinny older version of the kid with the no teeth from Stranger Things. Is what he looks like to me a little bit. With that really wild hair. Kudos to him and Joel Dahman, of course. The second tournament he's lost when he's been in the lead. This is the first time. Second time Higgo won. This is his second victory, and both times the leader bogeyed 16, 17, and 18 for him to win. And then Dahman, of course, did the choke job, and everyone gave him a lot of credit for speaking afterwards, twisting a knife into Colin Morikawa and a little bit into Rory McIlroy, who tended not to talk. But I mean, Dahman's used to this shit. He's used to fucking up. That's why I think that's why it's pretty easy for him to go out and talk after he does something like this, because it's pretty much the norm. Like, he doesn't really have that much confidence in himself, right? I mean, we saw what happened, what he was talking about in that first full swing. So to talk about how much you suck when you suck, pretty fucking easy to do. I'm not going to take, I mean, a lot of people give him a lot of credit for this. I mean, this is normal for Joel Dahman. It's not something that's really going to break his heart because he's so used to it, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's being mean to Joel a little bit.
Expectations. If you set your expectations low, you never get disappointed, King. That's how it goes. But if you shoot for the stars or you shoot for the moon and you miss, you hit the stars. Then that's the other side of the spectrum, which Joel probably needs to think about a little bit. But he's got mental demons, massive mental demons. Probably the worst mental demons, that we've seen documented, at least on the tour.
Yeah, it's not great for him. It was a bad loss. Hopefully he can recover and come back and win some other alternate field event here sometime in the future.
Dude. And Higgo, the king of the bottom of the barrel, what he won the CJ Cup, was it at Corrales? Congaree? Was that it? Like,
I don't remember.
A total dump. Like, he beat Chesson Hadley, I think, was the guy that imploded down the stretch when Higgo won his first PGA Tour, and then now Joel, like, 2 completely disastrous meltdowns at very shitty tournaments, and now he gets 2 more years on the tour.
Take advantage when you can.
Yes.
Fuck everybody else, right?
Goddamn hyena out here, just like salvaging meat off like live bones. It's just great stuff for Higgo. So Higgo the hyena, I think, might be to like go with the Tambo phrasing there a little bit. I think is a solid one. So yeah. I'm super excited for him because he's fun. He's fun to watch, and if he shows up with that flow, we're missing a lot of good hairstyles on tour. So I think it'll be fun to see him show up there with some thick cabbage behind the pip there. So
I think it was good for him. I think it was good. It was good that JT won too, because the thing about JT is, ever since that first full swing, he's gotten a lot more haters. There's a lot of people that don't like him. And I think it's good to have golfers that are good that people don't like. I think it helps the game. I think it's good for viewing. I think it's a good thing, because even though JT can portray as likable, there's a lot of guys that don't like him. Now, he did do the good thing about the penalty, where he called the penalty on himself, which, okay, I understand the ball moved like a millimeter. Rules like that just seem really, really stupid. But it's a rule. It's a rule. He called it on himself. Kudos to him for doing that. It would have been a lot easier if he didn't, and it wouldn't have made me sweat.
No, he would have been in the lead. He would have had the lead going again. He did it. He self-sabotaged himself on purpose so he could have a carrot going into Sunday.
Maybe that's true. But he did have the lead the entire back nine
But he wasn't sleeping on it. That's the difference.
That's true. It's true. That's true. And I did say on Saturday that it might be helpful for him since he wasn't in the final group.
Siwoo was sitting just moping on the side of the green. You see him just full depressed mode. Just sad Siwoo.
Well, and a lot of things people realize is, life changes can be a big part of why golfers tend to struggle. It seemed to happen for, but it could go both ways. Let's talk about Siwoo and JT. JT got married right after the PGA Championship that he won. Hasn't won since then. Had a baby 6-7 months ago, and starts playing really good golf again. And then gets the victory. Siwoo got married recently as well, and his game has actually improved, become more steady. And then recently he just had a newborn as well. And his game, since the newborn was going up, but it sort of plateaued and went down until this past week. So a lot of different ways to go about it. You could think about the nappy factor. I think it does play a little part. I think the nappy factor is a better reliability for playing good golf than getting married. I think getting married really fucks those games up.
Did you see the club pro guy or the Tour Pro guy, the Twitter account that makes those funny videos with the blurry mouth? I think it's the Club Pro guy on X. Go check it out. He dropped a video that Zach Johnson, he made a video for the Ryder Cup guys, and he completely roasted every single dude. And he went back to the Azinger pods where he had the different pods, and he's like, okay, this is the pod for Justin Thomas, Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, and some other dude. And it's like, the why the fuck did you get married pod? And it's like the major track record that he read off before these guys got married, and then the track record afterwards. It's one of the best. I was laughed out loud just sitting all on my own just watching that video. It was incredible, and it's so true, because if you committed to your wife, you're not on the range. You're not a range rat anymore. You're a hubby, and it changes things up a little bit. So definitely makes a sense. And that's the thing.
Well, we talked about that with Rory last week, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. When you're betting football, it's everybody, if one guy gets married, it's not that big of a deal, whatever. But golf, John Daly showed up on the tee box with a kitchen knife cut across his cheek because his wife sliced him fighting with him in the morning. This stuff happens, dude, and you never know what's going to happen to these guys. So it's just, it's so crazy that we bet on this stuff, Tim. But
yeah, we had talked about this with Rory. Everyone's saying that he could go on a huge run now that he got his monkey off his back. And the question I had is maybe it's time for him, because he's obviously a family man. Well, filed for divorce, reneged on that. Obviously, there's a reason for that. He wants to make the family work. This is the time. He's got the monkey off his back. He doesn't have that, that goal to chase anymore. And maybe it leaves more time for his family, but maybe not, because his wife didn't travel with him to Belfast. With him and Poppy went to Belfast this past week, and his wife didn't travel with him. Don't know why. Don't know the reasoning. So I'm not putting anything crazy out there, but all I know is she didn't travel with him. So maybe there's still something going on with that family that he has to work on. And I'm sure he does, because of what happened. It's been less than a year since the divorce came out. So Well, always when it comes to individual sports where these guys are independent contractors and you don't have injury reports and you don't really know what's going on in their life, it does make it tough sometimes to bet. I mean, I didn't even know Siwoo was married. I didn't even know Sungjae was married. I didn't even know Hideki was married.
Had a kid.
Had like an 8-year-old child or some shit like that.
I know, it's crazy.
Like you don't know shit about these dudes.
Yeah.
And you're betting on them every single week. And the thing about it is golf is such a mental game, more of a mental game than probably any other sport out there.
Tennis probably is a close second.
Yeah.
But,
again, individual sports. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I mean, tennis, I think is a lot more physical,
emotional,
too. Physical, because I mean, you're running around 5 setters, 6-hour matches, some insane shit. I mean, golfers ain't doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? The golfers ain't doing that.
Yeah.
But all right. So what else we got to talk about today?
I guess we can chat some Zurich if we want.
All right. Well, why don't we go and talk about the winners from the Masters and stuff like that?
Yes, great point there, Kenny. So we went solo without Mike last week, so we thank you for your time and your patience with our horrible quality video that we put out there for you guys. But Mike's back on track now, and we had 5 guys that bet on Rory in the comments. We ask you guys to comment below and tell us who you think is going to win this week. The first person to guess the winner gets a free month in my Model Maniac Patreon with all my tools, all the things you'll see on the screen is yours for a month. And we had 5 people for the Masters only. We were allowing people to bet multiple people in there. So we had I Am Thorb, who was one, the guy that puts out some killer soundtracks. He did an awesome soundtrack for the Masters. Nice little rap recap. Was some sensational things. So we appreciate you, my brother. And then Anthony Slusser, Santos Puente, Adam Kapner, and Hot Soup, a return winner. Him and Joanne Sluice trying to be the king of the mountain over here. So Joanne, you did not win this week. Don't get crazy. But Hot Soup, Adam Kapner, Santos Puente, Anthony Sluss, and I Am Thorb. Congratulations. I'll see you guys in my Discord. Quite excited to have Thorb in there if he wants to. So this week, let me know in the comments. Yeah.
The winner for last week was Eric Adkison, 9953. He was the first person to pick Justin Thomas. So at Eric Adkison, 9953. Get in touch with Byron. We'll comment on your post or something to get in touch with him so you can get that free month. And then make sure you go out and do this every week. It helps our numbers. It helps our analytics. It helps people get eyes on the show when you make comments on our YouTube page. So go out there, pick your winner, and get a free month of Byron's amazing Patreon. Amazing stuff out there on his Patreon, the models, all his content, everything you need in one-stop shop for Mr. Byron Lindeque. All right, so let's get to our ProphetX segment for this week. Again, ProphetX, we're talking about this. They don't have numbers up for this week. I don't know if they're going to do Zurich Classic or not.
Yeah, it's a weird week.
But here's the thing. Like, the numbers that I got. So I got last week, I got Xander top 20 minus 147. His top 20 number on DraftKings was 210 minus 210. His top 20 number on BetMGM and FanDuel was minus 200. So you're getting 53 points better than the best numbers out there, right? And here's the kicker for it. Like, when you go on ProphetX and you place your number down, whatever thing you want to do on a placement, okay? Whatever number it is, say it's minus 150 for Xander, and that's the number that they're giving you. When you click that number, you can adjust, before you put your money in. You can adjust and make that number any number you want. You're requesting your own
realistically
odds. It doesn't even have to be realistic. And here's my point on that. The way you do it is you make your number minus 140 instead, minus 136 instead of the 150, right? And so what will probably happen is you'll get a notice when you place that down. You'll get a notice, and it'll say, this is the best number available. This is the top number, right? And so no one's matched you yet. And so when you go to your plays and you look at it, it'll tell you if your play has been matched. If it hasn't been matched,
Yeah.
it's not going to go. But
Mhm.
they just added this new button this past week where on your thing it says go to best matched number. So then, 5 minutes before tee time, if your number hasn't been matched, you can go and click that match best number and get the best number there possibly can be out there available. I think so. I had one for Scottie top 10, and I didn't pull the trigger because I got up late, I think, on Thursday. But like it was like I wanted like minus 132 for a top 10 or something like that, or minus 130 for a top 10. It didn't get matched, but if I wanted to, I could have gotten minus 136 if I just pressed that, best number button to match. And so, I mean, if you go to ProphetX, you really, for placements, it's unbelievable. Like you have to use it. I don't really say this that often. And a lot of the times it's because they pay us, right? And I say some crazy shit. I wouldn't care if ProphetX didn't give me any fucking money. Like for placement, it's literally the only, because it has the same golfers. Matchups is a little different because they don't have the full matchups like the other books do. But they have the full placement for every single golfer, almost every single golfer, for the placements, top 5s, top 10s, top 20s. Okay, all including ties. If you are making placement, you have to use ProphetX. Like you have to use ProphetX because you're not, searching for the best number. You're searching for the best number by a fucking shit ton. Not like 4, 5, 7 points, by 40, 50, 60 points. You're getting better numbers.
Yeah.
Like you have to go on to ProphetX. Use promo code F to go and.
Yeah. So how it goes is like you said, minus 150 is what you got Xander at, Kenny, but other books had him at minus 200. So if you want to win $100, to bet the minus 200 and you say you have $600 till you lose all your money. Terrible bank moral management, but just a small example here. You've got 3 chances to cash that bet at minus 200. If you're using ProphetX at minus 150, you can get a whole free at minus 1. You can get a whole free there at minus 150 because you can get minus 150 goes into 600 4 times, minus 200 goes into 600 3 times. So that's just a simple way to kind of explain the massive value you're getting here. We're not going to give you the biggest sign-up bonuses, but you're going to get it organically by just using this often. Like that's where it happens. And if someone doesn't like Xander, they'll put out a nasty number out there and you can soup it up, So I love it too. And I'm super excited they got the placements now because tires paid in full is also just, you never want to get dead heated. Huge. That's the worst. So, when you're getting the best number on the market with tires paid in full, that's kicking other books as, odds with out ties. That's when you're getting good value,
So they're also picking up their matchups. So they had a matchup last week. It was Xander over Rye, minus 130. Now you couldn't really find that anywhere else in another book, but I talked to some guys who do the numbers, like who are really good at making odds and stuff like that. They said it should be like minus 160 is what it should have been for that matchup. And this is like 1v1. It's not like placement where you're trying to go up, you're going up against the entire field, right? It's 1v1 matchup, and you're getting 30 points better than what a book would normally give you. Like you have to use ProphetX. Like there's no if, ands, or but about it when it comes to placements. And now that they're starting to get their matchups going, you got to get on that. Use promo code FG Degenerates. You only get 1.5% back on your first ad, but that doesn't matter.
You're saving long term.
The bonus,
like so
you're
much.
saving long term on all of the great numbers that you're going to get. And again, this isn't a book. It's peer versus peer. It's me against you. And then, ProphetX takes 2%. That's it. Yeah. And so 48% of people that play this site are winners. They're winners.
Literally. That's the best part. And when it comes to matchups, why I love matchups is because if you're going up against a placement mark, if Hideki WDs, there's nothing you can do about that. Like, you are always going to lose that, like, so it's easily something that you can avoid in a matchup, because you can have your guy that you put the matchup on, WD. That's crappy luck. It is what it is. But also, the guy you're going against can WD. And then you got a free matchup cash, because that's the only market in golf that you can capitalize on someone else's WD, because it's the worst when you DFS, laying top 20s and stuff, and the guy WDs, that's you lose immediately because it's you versus the book. But it's when it's a matchup, you can capitalize on that, and when you're getting the best odds, that's even better. And then one more thing, Kenny, before we zoom out of here, there's a thing called arbitrage betting or arbitrage play, where you can find a top 20 that other books are offering at a specific number. And then if it makes sense for the no side of things for a top 20 on that name, you can middle. So then you just them both and you guarantee yourself winnings because the odds overlap. So like minus 150 to finish top 20, and then you can get plus 170 to not finish top 20. And then you just keep increasing your bankroll. If you want to just make a couple bucks, that's how you do it. It's called arbitrage betting, and it's the way to go about it when you're using ProphetX, because the other books' lines don't match up to ProphetX, because we've already told you how significant the odds change, on that market. So it's a definite way to kind of just increase your bankroll marginally if you're that kind of person.
That sounds interesting. If you ever have any of those plays, post them, because I'd love to see them.
Yeah, well, I'll post a couple arbitrage opportunities. You get shut down at certain sports books if you're doing that stuff, like relentlessly. So with a peer-to-peer, that's the perfect example, because they don't care. It's just they're taking your 2% and off you go. So that's the best place to do it, is at ProphetX. So just thought I'd mention that too, because I'm sure that a couple of you will understand what the arbitrage side of things are.
I don't. Yeah, what I don't understand is why people match shitty numbers. I don't understand that part, but it happens. But I don't understand why that happens.
Well, you can have an opinion, like you can think, okay, let's go. Like, I think
because people want the action, like, people want the juice.
Yeah, they want to fade that dude. Like, off we go. So, yeah, it's cool. It's really exciting stuff. And the more of you in there, the better it will be, because there'll be more liquidity in there and the more opportunity to cash in on these kind of odds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping they have some Zurich numbers out, and if they do, I'll do a ProphetX play every week. So make sure you check at Kendo VT. I will do a ProphetX play, probably a placement every single week. And the way I'm going to go about it is I'm going to go with studs, like guys who I think
the better fish base.
I mean, like a Scottie top 10, where a book would have it at minus 180, and I can get it for minus 140. Or something like that, or like the top 20 I had, top 20 I had last week, for Xander. It was minus 210 on most books. I got it from minus 147. If I'm going to get that much value on it, I mean, I will pay the Jew. I will pay the Jew minus 147. And so, like, I think I paid like $100 and I won like 75 or something like that. I mean, that's fine. I got no problem with that. So I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to have some more ProphetX plays. So make sure you check out me on X at Kendo VT. But let's get to the Zurich Classic. Let's talk about this tournament this week. I know a lot of people are off. A lot of guys aren't doing any content for the Zurich, but we're degenerates. We're going to be doing it. In all honesty, I think having Rory and Lowry win last year gave the tournament a little bit more juice. A little bit more fun, a little bit more reason to watch. Since there is no, match play, this is, at least we get some type of team competition here, something a little bit different. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but we're going to go with it this week. The PGA Tour moves slightly west this week as golfers play the Zurich Classic at TPC Louisiana in Avondale, 25 miles from Bourbon Street. This is the 8th team competition here, and it's also hosted a normal stroke play event 11 times. TPC Louisiana, 7,400 plus yard, par 72, 4 par 3s, 4 par 5s. This Pete Dye design course used to be one of the easiest stroke play courses on tour each year, with the winning scores ranging from like -15 to -25. It hasn't changed that much since the team competition started. Still easy. There are a lot of short par fours, and all the par fives should be reachable in two by most golfers. Off the tee, golfers will face fairways that are above average in width, with many of them being tree-lined. Bunkers of all shapes and sizes, including small pot bunkers and humongous fairway bunkers, will be waiting for golfers who hit errant tee shots. Speaking of humongous bunkers, a fairway bunker on 15, over 150 yards long. The rough is thick but not overbearing, and water will be on play on 8 holes. The greens are average in size and speed, with a Stimpmeter rating of around 11. The greens are undulated, but less so than most Pete Dye courses. Bermuda grass is the grass used on the greens. These greens are some of the easiest on tour to putt on. In the stroke play years, there were less 3-putts than most courses, and the make rate inside 5 to 10 feet was higher than most other courses on tour. This might be the week where you might want to ignore putting. I don't know if you can really do that. Like, what are you specifically looking for? Because, when it comes to DFS, when it comes to this, it's 60 teams, top 33 in ties make the cut. The first day is best ball, second day is alternate shot, third day's best ball, fourth day's alternate shot. It is the way that it goes. How are you going about strategy on picking your favorite plays and stuff like this when it comes to DFS and outrights, Byron?
Cool. Before we do that, the way to remember best ball and foursomes, or 4-ball and foursomes: 4-ball, there's 4 balls in play, and you take the best one of the team. Foursomes, you're only playing the ball sometimes because it's alternating shots. So 4 sometimes, 4 all balls in play. So that's a fun way to remember that. And then I'm going to share my screen over here for you guys and show you what's going on with the actual course, because the way the map works over here, we got 3 par 3s going on this week. And I love courses like this that have weird layouts like this, where you got the 3 par 3s, which means you've only got 9 tee shots per golfer. There's 18 holes, so you got to hit 9 each. And as a result,
4 par 3s, right? Not 3.
Sorry, 3 par 3s on odd holes. So
okay.
What we're dealing with here is, instead of hitting a drive, for the guy that tees off on the odd holes, he's only going to hit 6 drives. The other 3 shots are all approach shots on the par 3s. And then you've also got all the other approach shots after the other guy's drives. So ultimately, if you're teeing off on the odd holes, you're going to have 11 approach shots out of the 18 holes. And the other dude's only going to have 7, which means the other guy is going to have 11 chips or putts. The first putt or the first chip on the hole. So you're basically looking for guys that have combinations where I'll show you right here on the Zurich model that I have. You can find guys that have got great putting and great off the tee ability, because that's basically what you're looking for from one golfer. And then the other dude needs to be great from 200 plus. Because if we go back to the holes here, look at all these odd approach numbers: 182, 221, 248, 176, 192, 215, 285, all 175 and out. Most of these is a couple short 3 wedges that you got dealing with there. But long iron play, that's why Xander and Patrick Cantley have always been so good at this golf course, is because Cantley would hit the drives and Xander's the best long iron player in the world. So that just completely nukes this golf course. And as a result, you're going to have Shane Lowry and Rory doing a similar thing. So what my model provides you with is these optimal alt shot rankings for you guys. So you can use this in the Model Maniac Patreon. Use code Zurich25 for 25% off over there. And I've figured out, okay, what is the optimal way to deploy these golfers going forward? Because some of these dudes, like this Jesper Svensson and Nicholas Norgard, this is an incredible combination, because Jesper's a much better putter than Norgard, but Norgard is sensational from 200 plus when Jesper is not. So you can, in that alternate shot, specifically for showdown, in the alternate shot format for round 2 and round 4, you can really leverage these kind of layouts for these golfers. And it's half their round, half the tournament. So you can easily expect them to make their way up in the alternate shots when guys play. Patrick Cantley and Xander Schauffele have shot better scores in the alternate format than the best ball. Playing one ball versus taking the best of the 2, they've outscored themselves, I think, the time they won. So it's it's a way to kind of get an edge, and I've got that all for you guys over here. So that's how I'll be looking at it this week.
So I was going to ask, do you have all this available on your Patreon?
Yeah, what I'm showing you right now is
this would be a great week to jump on board, because to be able to see those numbers so easily, as we talk more about strategy and how to go about picking your favorite teams, to be able to see that so visually easy is going to be a big boost. So make sure you go sign up for Byron's Patreon. Use what's the promo code?
Zurich 25. 25%.
Use promo code Zurich 25, save 25%. This seems like the week, and you're going to get all this great information from Byron this week. And I don't get anything from Byron from these models. I'm pumping it because it's going to help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's our goal here on this show. Really, the occasional laugh, but really, we want to help you. Try and improve your betting, your DFS, everything is what we're trying to do. And for a week like this, where it's so different, it's a lot easier to gain an edge, especially in DFS, because people aren't playing as much, and they don't have all the information that they need. So if you get on it, that's why we're doing the show this week, because it feels like we have an edge, especially if you're using Byron's model.
Yeah, all the big sites, I can just build a model, chop, and then it's there for you guys. Whereas the big sites, you have to program it and stuff. So it's awesome. I love this. And for the Ryder Cup, I do an even better thing. So wait until that comes around. It's going to be so much fun. But Kenny, I got a couple of outrights for you guys. And I'm going to go with Novak and Griffin, Andrew Novak and Ben Griffin. A lot of this is also got to do with narrative, because when you're taking best ball, you could have two guys that shoot 66 on a par 72. They both shoot 66 and you shoot 6 under. Or you can have two guys shoot 66 and you shoot 12 under, because how you dovetail. If you both make birdies on the same old fact, out of luck. If you don't, and one guy makes birdie, the other guy makes dovetailing, that's what I call it. That's how the variability of this tournament comes into play. But I like the alternate shot side of it because it's a little more predictable given that you're only playing the one ball. Now, Novak and Griffin, both guys have been flirting with wins. Wouldn't it be fitting that Novak goes out there and loses to Justin Thomas, loses to Brian Harman? These are like the tournaments where he wins, like Davis Riley and with the Hardy boys, Nick Hardy. Never going to win golf tournaments unless it's Charles Schwab for Davis. Go out here, win. Like perennial chokers, go out there and dominate. So that's a nice way to kind of get involved with guys that have not quite got across the line. Now it's a different format. I like Andrew Novak and Ben Griffin there. Then I'm going to go with Nico Echeverria and Max Griesemann. Two great putters. Griesemann has got tons of distance off the tee. Echeverria can be a great iron player. I love that combination for them. And, Kenny, you mentioned to fade the putting or not include the putting. I think if you're looking for guys that have like the spike putting, which I've got in there, which means your 25th best putting performance and beyond, that is the strokes gains you're going to be getting for that, because you're going to need spike putting rounds in the best ball section when you just need to make birdie after birdie. And the easiest way to do that is with putting. So I like having two very good putters on the same team. It can eliminate a lot of bogeys as well. So Griesemann and Echeverria. And then the Canadian guys, they almost won this thing a while ago. Taylor and Hadwin, Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin at 40-1. When you're looking at these country combinations, Kenny, it also helps, because it's that camaraderie. They're obviously good friends, and you feel comfortable, because if you're playing with a new dude, you've played in tournaments where you show up and you play with someone random and you're on a team and you hit a bad shot, you feel really shitty about it because you're letting that guy down. But if it's your best buddy and he gives you shit, you can just tell him to fuck off. It's all good. It's the comfortability factor is definitely there. So I like Adwin and Nick Taylor going at 40-1. And then I just mentioned the Norgard and Nicholas Norgard and Jesper Svensson. Love them at 50-1 as well. Great alternate shot pairings. We're going to be using those guys like crazy. I'm going to lock them in for round 2 and round 4 if they make it there. 50-1 is a great option for those two dudes. And then Danny Walker and Ryan Gerard. 60-1 at all of these are Bet Rivers, 6 places each way there. Love those numbers for those two. Danny Walker and Ryan Gerard also grade out very well for the alternate side of things. So I'm kind of leading into that angle a little more there. So those are my guys. Echeverria Griesemann, Novak Griffin, Hadwin Taylor, Spencer Norgard, and Walker Gerard. Kenny, who you got?
For me this week, hold on, let me try and get my laptop with a little bit of power. That didn't work. Anyways, my bets. My first one's
You
going
need
to
to
be
plug it
Hadwin.
in.
My first one's going to be Hadwin Taylor. Just like you.
Yeah.
A 30-1 with 8 places. A little snub, both of them Mr. Ryder Cup team or the President's Cup team. You know, you have a little snub going out there, you know, try and do their thing. 2 top 10s in the last 10 years, in the last 2 years at this event. I want guys who, especially in cash and stuff like that, when I play DFS, I want guys who have played this format before, who are comfortable. So all my cash plays are guys who have been paired up in the past. But I do like Hadman and Taylor. They're coming in. You know, Nick Taylor is a proven winner. He's already won this year. Got that one outright from him. He's my one outright other than Justin Thomas so far this season. So I will go with those 2 guys. Definitely a narrative play. Next, it's going to be I like these young guys, Thorbjornsen and Phillips. Phillips, won a couple of weeks ago. Thorbjornsen, has got mad talent. I think both of them, when it comes to birdies, they make a ton of birdies, both of them. So I like that pairing. The youth, they don't know better, right? Just go out there and whack
no Scottie
balls.
issue.
Yeah, and see what the fuck happens. I got them 35-1 with 8 places, and then I got a couple of long shots. Hisatune Kanaya. Hisatune is doing his thing. 3 top 15s in his last 4 events. So people forget, Kanaya was the number 1 ranked amateur in the world for 55 weeks. He has 8 wins, professional wins in his career. 7 in Japan, 1 on the international series. So it's not like this guy is a bum, right? Going out there 75-1, speaking the same language, familiar. They're familiar with each other's games. I really like that. This is probably one of my favorite bets and one of my favorite plays on DFS this week. They will actually be my hustler play of the week as well. We'll go over that
tease?
here.
You got to tease it.
In the
DFS.
DFS
In the future.
In the DFS here, I like them a lot. They're one of my favorites. I think the skill level there for the price that you're getting, which is in the low 7Ks in DFS and 75-1 with 8 places. I'm sure you can get 100-1 somewhere out there with these guys. I really, really do like the Japanese duo. My final one's going to be some old heads. It's going to be Zach Johnson and Ryan Palmer. 125-1 with 8 places. Ryan Palmer's won this event before, of course, with John Rahm, right? But he tends to pick the right partners. He played with Spieth before, right? He's played with Spieth before. He's played with Rahm. Now he's playing with Zach Johnson, which is a little bit off the cuff of what he's normally done. But Zach was pulling a fucking share, turning back time at the Masters, right? Going out there like he's full share out there. I forgot how good of a golfer like he was. Like, you just get so much shit for the Ryder Cup and bitching, complaining all the time. He's a 2-time major winner. And
he's short of the Slam.
Yeah. And then, and we saw what he did at Augusta, had the week off, coming in, playing with a buddy. I like that duo for 125-1 with 8 places. That's only about half the card. I'll probably have at least 2 more bets on the final card. It'll come out on Wednesday at Kendo VT on X, also along with my ProphetX plays. I know you got some more. Why don't you go ahead on those while I try and fix my laptop?
Yeah, I do not have any more, but I can chat about some DFS blood, sweat, and tears as we're rocking and rolling over here. So starting off with the 10K range, I mean, Rory and Shane getting themselves slapped with a $12,400 price tag is Scottie-esque. Now, Shane Lowry seems like we've already spoken about this on the show in the past. Like, strokes gained Rory for Shane is incredible. Like, he sold his soul on Sunday at the Masters for Rory to win the Slam. Shane went from contending to win the damn thing to finishing like 42nd or something ridiculous. So he, playing with Rory, has played fantastic at Pebble Beach. I think they played at API together, did wonderful things there. So it makes a ton of sense. At 12.4, it's a little spendy. We don't have that 5K range, but again, you've got all sorts of random names that Kenny's been giving us here in the 6s. You can use the tool to find some statistical leverage spots here for guys that pair up quite nicely. We'll get to them there. But Colin Morikawa and Kurt Kitayama at 10.7, I think I'm just out on that one entirely. I don't see Colin's ever since he started bitching at the reporters, it's like gone south for him. Didn't play well at the Masters, didn't play well last week, made an 8 on that hole, that very easy short par 4. Not ideal, and then
speaking of that about Morikawa, I've actually heard some rumors that he is not like the easiest person to work with, that he has his own set of minds. Like people can ask him, tell him that, he's not doing things correctly, and he just pushes them aside. Just some stuff that I've heard. I don't know if it's true. I'm not media, so I can say this shit.
I have to get a story time with Kenny Colin Morikawa edition.
It's just that I just heard from somebody hit me up and said he knows the people in Morikawa's group, like his entourage, and they say the biggest problem Morikawa has is he doesn't listen to anybody. Doesn't listen to anybody and thinks that he knows best about everything. That is not a great trait to have in life, really. In life. And I could see people turning on him pretty fucking quick. It's his own fault, because he had sort of like that good boy image, right? Until recently, and it's sort of being thrown through the wayside, and it could really, I don't know. And him not being, I feel like he has sort of the same syndrome that Bryson has, where he wants to be liked. And he expects to be liked. And when it doesn't go his way, he turns into sort of like a snotty little bitch, is what it looks like for me.
Yeah, little silver spoon type snob. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there. He had a golden opportunity to backpedal on what he had to say. He doubled down on what he wanted. That's on you now, brother. You got to roll with the punches from here on out. Thomas Dietrich and Bobby Mack playing together at 10-3. Woo! We got the WWM Open winner and the RBC Drone Canadian winner there. That's a weird price to me, Kenny. Those two together at 10-3. I think that's an easy fade at this price point. I just don't see them deserving to be in here. I think there could be other guys that should be in this 10K range. JT Poston and Keith Mitchell. I think if you're looking to bet them, potentially like a top 5 is a solid option. I think the first tournament Keith Mitchell wins is this one.
Yeah.
With the teammate. He just can't seem to get across the line at the moment in a single event. So maybe this is the week for them to get it done. They grade out fantastic. I think they got probably great chemistry as well. Keith has often played well, with Sungjae in the past. So who's your go-to player in the 10K range, Kenny?
It's Rory Lowry. It's Rory Lowry. They're the best by far. They're going to be my first cash game cornerstone. I'm just going to go ahead and put them in. Obviously they take this event seriously. They won last year, right? They're the defending champs. And they are the two best players probably outside of Morikawa in this field. Rory's better, but then I think Morikawa's probably better than Lowry, but Lowry's probably third. I'm just going to go ahead and take them as my first cash game cornerstone. I do like the Keith Mitchell pairing with Poston, but I'm worried about ownership. I think this is the week where, honestly, since there's so many variables this week, right? When it comes to guys, you don't know how they're going to play in this type of atmosphere and this type of setup. Having so many of these variables, I think game theory is super important. I think you can not even know about golf and probably do well in this week when it comes to DFS, because the game theory perspective. And I think whoever is going to be the highest owned outside of Rory Lowry, I am going to fade in this 10K range. And I expect that to be Keith Mitchell and JT Poston. So even though I like them, I think just because of the volatility of this event, if they're going to be high owned, if they're the second highest owned in the 10K behind Rory and Lowry, they're going to be a fade for me. Now, when we move on to this 9K range, see, that's the thing, though. I don't really like too many people here either. I know Hoagie Horschel is going to be the popular play, right? Because Hoagie's playing some excellent golf, and Horschel's won this event before. He thrives off this, but Hoagie sucks at this event. I think he's missed like 4 or 5 cuts. Now, can you really look into that? Do you look into missed cuts at all?
I think the Billy factor. He's never had pump your shit up Billy Horschel on his team. We've seen what Billy does in TGL We've seen what he gets up to at the QBE shootout with 12 teams. He thrives for these like buddy situations. He loves this stuff. So, I think they're going to do great. And Tom brings the ball striking side that Billy doesn't. And I think Billy's got the short game that Tom necessarily doesn't have either. And you mentioned earlier, Kenny, fading chalk and kind of pivoting to low-owned guys. Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry had to beat Martin Traynor and Chad Rainey to win this thing in a playoff last year. Like, Martin Traynor? I mean, this dude he's not even on the tour anymore. So he had his chance and the Irishman shut them out there. So you can literally find anyone winning this tournament. So that's the beauty of the beast. So be sure to pivot your face off in particularly this tournament. So I love Ben Griffin and Andrew Novak as well at 97. I'm pretty much going to just probably play the Rory Shane up top and then just play most of these 9K guys over. Yeah, Billy Horschel squad with Tom Hoagie and the Hoygaards. I love the brothers together. I think the chemistry there is great. Now, do they ever play well together? That's the thing that we got to ask ourselves here. And, we'll see what ownership, I don't know where the hell we're even going to find ownership, but we can kind of project it, watch a couple episodes of shows and things to see who's speaking about who, particularly Pat, if he's not even doing one this week. He's on vacation. So I'm completely running around in circles here, but you get what I'm trying to say. So love those dudes. Sahith Theegala, Aaron Rai. Sahith Theegala's got problems, Kenny. Major demons right now. Unless it's a Friday. Kenny, Sahith on Fridays, he's been playing horrendous golf. But I think he's like gained strokes in 7 of his last 8 Fridays. He just somehow shows up on a Friday and gets it done. I think
makes the cut.
Yeah, you just
got to get paid. Got to get paid.
Then eject. I think either the girlfriend's TikTok is banned on Fridays or what, because he's got some serious shit to deal with off the course. Speak about getting married, not even married yet, and she's making TikTok videos about, watch my boyfriend play this week's tournament. And like, I wanted to scrape my eyes out watching this stuff. It's brutal. I can't imagine what he has to go through on a daily basis, says Theegala. So I went down a full TikTok rabbit hole there of Juju. Love her, but Jesus, that's not good for your boyfriend's success. If you wanted to make more money getting married, probably you want to stop the TikTok there, Juju. But anyway, Kenny, hit me with some of your names.
I think the pivot from Keith Mitchell, Poston, and Horschel Hoagie should be Echeverria, Grayson. I'm with you on that. I like those two guys down there at the 9K range. Again, guys who can putt extremely well. And, Echeverria is really good with the mid to long irons, which you're going to see a lot of this week. So I do like that. I think they're only like 20-25 to 1. That's why I didn't place a bet on them, but it might happen. I still have some room on my card. I do really like these two a lot. They are my favorite play in the 9K range.
Yeah, Bet Rivers got them 33, Kenny, if you have that book available. So, I love what Grieseman's off the, like, they complement each other perfectly and are both good putters. So that's very nice to see there. Akshay Bhatia he lost strokes putting around the green off the tee, finished second at the RBC Heritage in strokes gained approach. The irons are just sizzling right now. And now we got Carson Young and his partner, who, is just a solid guy. So I don't mind Akshay and Carson Young going off over there. Sepp Straka and Bryce Garnett. I mean, come on, Sepp, bro. Maybe they landed playing well, but I just don't see
Bryce can play. Like, especially on shorter courses. I think this one might be a little bit too long, but he doesn't have to drive every hole. It's interesting. I don't know if I'll get on board, though.
Yeah, because then if Akshay is doing the driving, he's not hitting all the irons, like we mentioned earlier. So that's going to, like, the holes on that team are too many to fill. It's too Swiss cheesy for me. So I think I don't mind the Canadians, which are going to be very popular. I think a solid option off of them would be the Svensson Norgard squad at $8,500 underneath Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin. As I've mentioned, they fit really nicely in that alternate shot. Definitely going to be playing them in showdowns, rounds 2 and round 4. Ryan Fox and Garrick Higgo, an Aussie and a Safa doing their thing, or is Fox a New Zealander? Either way, scrappy, both very scrappy. And obviously Higgo's playing great. You think he's going to have a hangover, Kenny?
Who? Higgo? I don't know. It's his second win. He's won before, so it's not brand new to him.
You don't want to let your partner down.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big thing. I like this 8K range a lot. I actually like it more than the 9K range. My second cash game cornerstone is going to be Hadwin Taylor. Again, guys who have played together before, finished a couple of top 10s here in the last 2 years. Decent price. I'll go ahead and make them my second cash game cornerstone. My third cash game cornerstone is going to be the Fitz brothers down here at the low 8K range. Again, brothers who have played this event, made the cut back-to-back years. If I'm not mistaken, I think they finished 20th the year 2 years ago and 11th last year, so there's improvement. It could be the other way around, but they still have made the cut here. They know each other's games. I do like them as my third cash game cornerstone, but there's a lot of guys in this. I sort of like, I mean, the pivot off Hadwin and Taylor would probably be your Norvald Svensson or Thorbjorn Olesen and Matt Wallace. Wallace has had a couple of good finishes here recently. Thorbjorn is 13th in the Ryder Cup points, right? I mean, technically, if they just took the top 12, he's one out of it. I don't think he's going to make the team, but as of now, he's 13th in European Ryder Cup points. So again, you're looking at probably single-digit ownership for those guys right there. That could be the pivot, the Olesen Wallace right there as the lowest owned guys, probably in the 8K range. That could be the play that wins you a GPP. Let's move on to this 7K range. Who do you like, Byron?
Ooh, Kenny, you go ahead first. I'm still investigating here. I need to scroll down a bit.
Okay. I like the guys up top. One guy I like, Howie Ryder. Ryder's been playing decent golf. He's been he sort of fades on the weekends, but he's been making a lot of cuts. He's been playing better than he normally has throughout his career. We got Howie, who has the stat guide, who has the right numbers, who has a good iron game. I think he's 6th in my model in stats. Hits a lot of greens, 12th in greens in regulation. I want to get golfers who hit a lot of greens to give their opponents or to give their partners a chance at birdie. Is something that I'm looking at when it comes to stats. He's also really good from 150 to 200 yards. So the Howie Ryder one is one that I'm looking at. The Doug Kim, Chan Kim, technically the same last name. If you guys didn't know, Kim is Kim in Korean. There's no hard K sound in Korea. So it's actually guys with the same last name, couple of guys with good iron play, solid tee to green. I do like them down in the upper 7K range. Other guys. Who's Ryan Gerard playing with again?
Danny Walker. I love that pairing.
Yeah. That's one that I'm taking a peek at. I'll let you talk about them. The Paul brothers seem to be like they're going to be super popular. I'm fading.
Okay.
I know the one that plays on tour had a solid finish. He was 3rd in Corrales, I think, or 2nd in Corrales, and I think his brother was 3rd in China. But he's coming from China. He's coming from China. Like that's like a lot of jet lag. I mean, that's not like Europe to the United States. That's like 14 hours difference. That's a lot to really change your body. And if they're going to be like the most popular play in the 7K range, give me a fade on them. Give me a fade on them because I already hear a shit ton of people, talking them up. I do love, like I said, my hustler play of the week is going to be in the 7,000 even. It's Hisatune and Kanaya. Like I said, Hisatune playing excellent golf. 3 top 15s in his last 4 events played. Again, his iron game has been strong. His tee to green game, top 20 in this field. His mid-iron game has been strong. 6th in greens and regulation, right? It's something that's big. And then you got Kanaya, who is an 8-time winner, a worldwide winner. He was the #1 amateur player in the world for 55 weeks, for more than a year. He has 7 wins on the Japanese tour. He has 1 win on the International Series tour. He has more wins than anybody in this field, except for probably Rory.
Yeah. Maybe Colin. Yeah.
Maybe Colin. I mean, I don't know. I mean, 8's a lot of wins. And the guy
But we just
knows how
said
to
Collins
win.
won 7. So yeah, more than
Oh yeah. And so when he wins at $7,000 and 75-1, Hustler Play of the Week, my favorite bet, my favorite play. I love these guys. I don't expect their ownership to be extremely high. Maybe the only reason it would be is because we're the only people doing content and no one else can hear anybody else talk about it. That would be the only reason I could think that they gain any type of steam, because I'm a huge fan of these guys. And I know Pat was big on List and Norlander. I'll take a Pat Mayo special with List and Norlander down here. List, of course, who can win. Norlander, whose ball striking has been, borderline elite at some points in his career. I'll go with those guys.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all, Kenny. And the Rico Hoey, Sam Ryder squad, you've chatted about, love them. Gerard, Danny Walker, love them at $7,500. The bottom of the 7K range is setting up quite nicely to pair up with Rory and Shane. So I like that a lot. The two filthy Frenchmen, Perez and
Pavon.
I think two nationalities together, you can always think that's going to improve the level of play there. Both can spike, correct? Like, both are very capable of playing very good golf any given week. Pavon obviously not playing the greatest right now, but he can make a couple putts here and there, and Perez has been playing some solid golf over the last couple of years. So I don't mind them. The Joel Damon, Harry Higgs duo, the Topless Boys. Man, we're going to see a couple screenshots of them taking their shirts off on the 16th at the Waste Management because they're playing together. You could not wish for a better partner for Joel Damon to go and play with than the Dude Wipes King himself, is Harry Hicks. Just a nice little come down to earth. I think they're good buddies, obviously, and the vibes are going to be super high there. Higgs a great putter. Joel obviously missing 2-footers to lose himself tournaments. Not so, so easily can complement each other quite nicely there. Patrick Fishburne and Zach Blair. Very interesting combination there. Zach Blair is a sneaky good 200-yard golfer. Both good putters as well. And Fishburne very solid off the tee. Zach Blair not so hot. So if they're playing that alternate stuff, off we go. Fishburne off the driver holes and Blair hitting all the long irons. I love that combination for the two of them. Justin Lowe and Chad Ramey. Also, Do-Re-Mi, so la Justin. I think we can absolutely see those guys thriving. With Justin Lowe, Chad Ramey, great putters, both of them. And, some mixed bag stuff down the board there. Takumi Kanaya and Sasuni. Let's just get into the sixes. I can't get words out of my mouth right now. Kenny, were you going in the sixes?
6K range. I mean, like I said, I like Zach Johnson and Ryan Palmer. Down here at the 6,600 mark. Ryan Palmer is a winner of this event before. They both have experience on this course. Zach, of course, turning back the hands of time with his performance at the Masters. He has to have some type of confidence going in. I really do like them. My final cash game cornerstone, we're going cheap because we have to get Rory and Lowry in there. It's going to be Hoffman and Watney at $6,200. I think they've played this event 7 times and made 6 cuts. I think they have like 4 or 5 top 15s at this event. So basically you can see that like every single one of my cash games. So my cash game cornerstones for this week are going to be Rory Lowry at 12,400. Hadwin, Taylor. They are going to be 8,600. The Fitzpatrick brothers, 8,100. And then you go all the way down to Watney and Hoffman at 6,200. All of these guys have played multiple times together. They've all made multiple cuts together. I think the only one that's missed a cut together is Watney and Hoffman, and it only happened once. And so basically I'm going with experienced guys who are familiar with each other in cash this week. It still leaves 14-7, 14-8. I think at this point in time, if you guys want to know who I have to fill out the rest of my lineup, right now it's Hisatune Kanaya and Liston Norland, but that can change. But that's who I have for cash. That's who I'm going to break out. And outside of that, it's tough for me. You got to give me some 6K guys, brother.
Yeah, I'm kind of taking a peek at the French Ventura combo with Antoine Rosner and Chris Ventura doing their thing at $6,800. Rosner's a very, very good long iron player, and Chris Ventura not so much. But Ventura, a great driver of the golf ball, Rosner not so much. So they complement each other very, very nicely there. Isaiah Cylinder and Kevin Velo. Sounds like we're putting together a maker golfer with Kevin Velo over there, but $6,800. Cylinder can absolutely just flush it, man. So I like his ball striking ability down at the bottom here. And then a combo that really grades out quite nicely for their price tag is Kevin Roy and Trevor Cohn. You take a look at what Cohn gets up to. He's a gainer off the tee, and Kevin Roy is a sneaky good 200-plus yard golfer. So those long iron opportunities, there's like 8 of those things for them. He's going to be dialing it up on those holes for sure. Super, super random. John Pack, Taylor Montgomery, $6,400. Taylor Montgomery, horrific long iron player, great wedge player, great putter. So I like that combination for the two of them.
Isn't John Pack wasn't he a great college player? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
Potentially. I mean, they both could have been.
I think I'm thinking of I think I might be thinking of somebody else.
Yeah. I think that they've got some potential, so to speak. I think there's some chance there that they can do something. And then David Lipsky, Dylan Wu. Solid putting for Dylan Wu. David Lipsky's iron play is very, very good. So I think, that's a solid combo.
I really wanted to get in some Eric Cole because I think Eric Cole season's back. I've been on him the last month or so. He's been coming up pretty nicely for me. But the problem is he's playing with somebody who doesn't even have a tour card. Isn't even on the Korn Ferry Tour. Isn't on the DP World Tour. Like Sam Saunders doesn't play golf anymore. So I can't get on that. I don't really understand that by Eric Cole unless they're really good buddies. But I mean, this is not like a throwaway event. Like you get 2 years. You get your card for 2 years.
Yes.
If you win this. And I feel like Eric Cole's making a mistake going with Sam Saunders. I did not like that at all because I think this is something that he can win to get his first victory, and playing with a guy like that, it's just not going to happen.
No, it's not. But he's going to just keep playing for the rest of his life and just fractionally add FedEx Cup points to his total. Like the guy's just going to grind away and just be on tour forever. He's going to probably play the most rounds of golf ever in a tour career.
He's the white Sung JM. I mean, he just plays a lot of golf.
Exactly.
But he's playing. He's playing. He went through that little lull, but it looks like he's back. I mean, a solid top 20 by him. He was my Hustler Player of the Week last week, and he came in 18th. So not horrible at $6,400.
Yes, exactly. Like the value is there, but Jesus, dude, like
I can't get on with Sam Saunders, but I'm just talking about future. Just keep an eye on Eric Cole. I think he's going to contend at an event this year, not a signature event, but he's going to contend at some event at some point coming soon.
Couldn't agree with you more, Kenny. I think that's really cool to go with. I love the Charlie Hoffman, Nick Watney play. That's not a lot of course history to this golf course, but they are the stalwarts. I think they have the most tournaments played at this event.
And Charlie's been playing good golf.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. So I think you're good to go in that department. $6,200. I'm going to definitely be joining you along with those two guys there too. All right. That's pretty much it. There's no one and done this week.
There is in my Slider Cup, but okay. I don't know who I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. It's what do you like strategy wise for that? Would you just kind of?
Well, here's the thing. Like you can pick whoever you pick, you get the partner, but the partner doesn't count for what your pick for the year. Because again, you can only use a golfer once, so it's one and done. So say I picked Nick Taylor, I could still use Adam Hadwin later on in the season. Yeah, something like that, right?
So you probably going to go Hadwin. Take the worst guy this week.
Yeah, take the worst guy probably. Yeah, that's probably what I would do.
Yeah, cool. Good. A little bit of a nugget there for you guys. Fantastic stuff, folks. Thank you for tuning in so much. Hit the like button. Subscribe to Mayo Media Network. Hit us up in the comments who's going to win this week. The first one to do that will get a free month to my Model Maniac Discord, where you can get 25% off using code Zurich25 in the description below. Make sure you go check out ProphetX, where we can provide you with all the wonderful things over there for the upcoming normal tournaments that we got going. We've already spoken about all the value that can be found at ProphetX. Use code FG Degenerates to get yourself 1.5% on the signing up over there. Kenny, where can people find you this week?
You can find me on X. Make sure you check me out on X. I'll have my final betting card there, all the ProphetX plays, any live ads at Kendo VT. Make sure you go check it out. a lot of people don't do much for this week, but we put the work in. We're going to be doing it for you. We'll be online all week doing our thing. I know Byron has the amazing tools over on his Patreon. Make sure you go use promo code Zurich25, get yourself 25% off to his Patreon. It's really, really important for a week like this because you will have an edge if you have all the models that Byron does. All right. Should be a fun week. Let's do it. Let's win some motherfucking money. BGen Nation.
Jordan Belfort, stacking penny stocks while I'm flipping these birds. Sipping on Ciroc, trip 'em up with the words.